I graduated from USM in 2017, and then I took a gap year, and then after that I started my PRP in Hospital Sedang, and now I'm currently doing my fully registered pharmacist in the current place I'm working in, which is in Shala. So a few things that actually inspired me to actually start this journey. First was because I actually really like to design stuff, like I really like arts and creatives and things like that. So that was already a factor for me to actually want to start this page. Second thing I noticed when I was doing my PRP, I noticed during in the hospital settings, many patients, when we come to dispense the medication to patients, they actually, when we tell them this is the medication, some of them actually unaware that they're actually taking these medications, or they are not familiar or what dose actually they're taking, seeing what dose, what frequency. So I noticed this huge gap in terms of the health literacy problem in our Malaysian settings. And I guess this also happens everywhere, in every single country. So what I wanted to do was address this health literacy problem in a way that's fun and in a way that I like, because I like arts and design. So that's why I was inspired to actually start this page. What I look at the broadest perspective is what I have, which is currently my job. So what I have is the knowledge and the skill sets as a pharmacist. My goal in life was also to help people in need and to educate people. So if I put that all together, the intersection point that I found was this page in terms of putting out infographics to help people, to help empower people in terms of the making a better health decision for themselves. Basically, I look at the experience, what actually I see in the setting when I deal with patients. Maybe some of them, when they ask questions. So when they ask questions, then I'd be like, oh, so not everyone may understand this. So that's something I take into account in terms of patient's experience, what they actually might ask. So putting yourself in a patient perspective, like anyone can be a patient, family members and things like that. So I put that in a perspective. And then another thing is I look at also what I would like to learn further. Yeah, so those are the two things that I actually look at, and also the common issues that's happening in our country also. How I differentiate myself with other people is that infographics is also one thing I put out front, because I noticed that visual representations are actually very important when you want to catch knowledge. Like when you listen to a video, your eyes are looking at something, but if you want to refer back to a knowledge, you actually look at infographics or like notes that you keep. So I think that is one thing. Another thing is also I really emphasize on the why. Like if you notice my post, it will be a journey for the patient. Like the narrative I build from the first page to the last page is for patients to understand why you actually need to understand this disease. Why actually it's very important for you to understand why is it, even not as a patient, as a family member or a caretaker. So my why I would emphasize in every single page, I hope. Like that's what I aim to do, is for them to really get empowered in terms of why. Yeah, so that's what I guess would set me apart. So I recently did this post about puasa and ubat. I collaborated with my clinic to do it. So I didn't expect it to go, there was some shares lah. So I didn't expect it to spread quite a lot. It spread to the point that also another person reached out to me from BPFK in terms of if she's able to share this. So this was very memorable, because that also sort of like secures my reason to why I'm doing this and whether I'm creating the impact that I wanted to. So that was really good for me, and also like the feedbacks I've been getting from people in terms of like, oh, I shared this with my family members and they understand. So I think that solidifies the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I faced a few challenges, which is time management wise. So I guess it's also a struggle to juggle between a full-time job and then also like coming back, oh, you're really tired, but then like, oh, you know what, actually this I can create something from this. So it's also the challenge would be that, and also the consistency of how I need to produce my posts, because a lot of the times marketing communications is very fast paced. So that's a challenge that I am still struggling with, but trying to learn how to overcome it. I particularly put it in a form that, so there's this thing called scaffolding. So it's actually a way to build, because I taught in schools last time, when you teach kids, you actually need to scaffold them the idea. For example, you're teaching them how to brainstorm. Even how to brainstorm, there's actually steps to do it. My approach was like using the technique scaffolding in terms of how do you actually allow someone to reach the end goals. If you are taking a certain medication but you don't know why you're taking it, you don't know what's it for or what kind of effects it gives to you, then it doesn't make sense that you don't understand what you have, because we all start with a diagnosis first. Yeah. So that was my take on why exactly is always like a disease first, and it was like that. Yeah. I just wanted one platform to handle, because I realized if you use two platforms and if you post, so people obviously nowadays, youngsters, they obviously have Facebook and Instagram. So I don't want it to be like a redundant thing unless I share it on my profile, which you have to be friends with me or you have to look up my profile only to notice it. So I put it in a way that I only want a single stream, so it's easier for me to manage. And then it's also like people, if anything, you just refer to one particular source. Because now also even we have Medscape, we have Flexicom, so many different sources. Like it's very confusing also at times. This one says this one says that. So I just feel like, oh, one source, I have everything, it's a lot easier actually.